So let's jump into that mindset. Where did that come from? Because you've had a colorful history, been in the Marine Corps, but where did you originally come from? Are you a California guy? Are you from back east?
I'm from, so I was born in Germany. My dad was in the Army. Then we moved from Germany to Florida, grew up in Florida. And of course, like most people, I was informed of this by my 7-year-old the other day. I guess it's a really big deal. Most kids at 7 know that most people are divorced. Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
Like that's something that my 7-year-old son mentioned. He thought it was a big deal that me and mommy are still together. But my parents got divorced, so I would kind of go between Texas and Florida, visiting. But I mostly lived in Florida with my dad. My dad was a single father, so he raised me. I didn't respect how hard my dad worked and what he did to get us to the middle class, I guess you could say, lower middle class, until I got a lot older. But, that is what it is. I think when it comes to mindset specific, outside of me growing up there, I ended up moving to California. My dad got remarried to a lady. When I got a little bit older, so I was about 13 when we moved to California. But I don't really consider my life starting in a lot of ways until I joined the Marine Corps. And I think the Marine Corps is really what shaped me, good and bad. A lot of the negative things that happened while I was in the Marine Corps actually created a positive change in my life. It's no different than maybe going to the gym. When you work out, you go home, you're sore, it hurts, but you grow from it. I would even say for a lot of people, their spirituality and faith, if it was all roses, you'd never grow. I think through a lot of this, it was no different. I had a conversation with Adam Nagura, he's on our team, the other day, and he's pushing really hard. He wants to be a really strong leader on our team, and there's certain things he's messing up, and he feels really bad about it. I says, look, this is one thing I learned early on in the Marine Corps as a young NCO, so this is a long time ago. Unfortunately, in order to become a strong and amazing leader, people are going to have to suffer.
Gosh, that's such a painful truth.
It's a reality.
Yeah.
People are going to suffer under your leadership if you're obsessed and you genuinely want to be a great leader. They're going to suffer until you figure it out. So buck up.
How old were you when you went in, and how long were you in?
I went in when I was 17. My parents had to sign a waiver. Yeah, so that was, let's see, I'm 42 right now.
Did you grow up knowing that you wanted to go in the Marine Corps, or was it something
No.
like a recruiter got a hold of you?
It wasn't a recruiter thing either. I just was a pig of a kid. And my dad always jokes, it didn't really start until 14. I think with, getting remarried, moving to California, we were in an awful neighborhood. I just emotionally fell apart. A lot of things changed in the household. And I just was an angry, unruly, pissed off kid. I definitely wasn't going to college. And I remember I came home, I hadn't seen my dad smile in a while. I sit down at the dinner table and he's smiling. I'm like, wow, Dad's in a good mood. He says, we need to talk, sit down. So I sit down and he starts laying out pamphlets, right? Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. He says, the Air Force is probably off the table, so he pulled it back. And I was not an Air Force guy. So he was kind of like, here's saying you're getting ready to graduate. You're not going to college. If you can figure it out and somehow you can get in college, you can stay here, which there was no way in hell I was staying there. And you're not getting a job. So here's kind of your option. What do you want to do? So originally I chose the Army, and I was like, I'm going to go in the Army. I didn't know that I wanted to do it, but I was going to join the Army. I was a musician back then. I had been playing and traveling for years. It was really good, and so I was going in the Army, and I just don't know what it was. I just didn't feel compelled. I'd show up, I'm doing all the things I had to do, and I'm like, this is just stupid. I can't, and I was out skateboarding, going to work. I worked at Godfather's Pizza. I really didn't. I was a bad kid. I did other stuff. But I was going on my way to work. I fell off my skateboard and hit this oil slick, and I got my shirt all dirty. So this Marine Corps recruiter, big dude, I'm actually still friends with him. He walks out, and he's like, man, that was kind of cool. I was trying to do a trick. And he says, man, but your shirt's all messed up. Hold on 1 second. He opens up the back of his trunk, hands me, and I still have it in my closet actually, hands me this Marine Corps shirt. And back then, now we can change colors of shirts and design and print stuff. Back then, it looked like Ronald McDonald. It was like a McDonald's yellow with a McDonald's red. It wasn't crimson and gold, which is what the color is supposed to be. It was like this really Ronald McDonald looking shirt, but it was freaking great. So we start hanging out. He says, come on in here real quick. And he sits down in his chair. And as you can see, I'm a pretty thin guy. I've always been thin. But not true. I actually was bigger once. And he leaned back in his chair, and the top button of his Charlie's popped right off. He was so freaking big. I'm like, I'm gonna join the Marine Corps. I'm gonna get big, and I'm gonna hook up with a whole bunch of women. Like that's why I joined the Marine Corps. It was the only reason. Honestly,
well, it ended up working.
It did. It worked. I mean, not a whole bunch. Don't tell my wife, but no.
Well, no, you got at least you got
the hottest one.
Yeah, you got the hottest one. There you go.
Yeah.
Safe way to say that, Susan.
Yeah. Good save.
Yeah.
Good looking out. No, I mean.
So you're 17, 18 at this point?
17.
And this is in Texas or California?
This is in California.
Okay.
So I was up in Northern California, up in Roseville. I was going to school up there. And I didn't turn 18 until I was in boot camp. I turned 18 at boot camp.
Wow.
So I was there. Yeah, I turned 18 in boot camp. And that was back in, 94, 95, somewhere around there. I have to do the math.